Hi, everybody. Sorry for being a little late. Wait a minute. Did my stream go down? What happened? You gotta be fucking kidding me. A funny story. The value of telling it to someone straight. Don't give someone criticisms to like be snarky and like mess with their heads and be like, oh, we're worried about you. But also don't just agree with everything they say, because leaders are always in a position where they can be hurt if they don't have people trusted advisors. So that was my overall point, and then the community's the way out. So let's just get right into it. The name of this episode is called Satan's Punchline. In a crazy world. So anyway, what's coming? This, by the way, this is an opportunity for something beautiful. So don't let this scare you. So South Park. Oh, I'm not, that doesn't make sense yet. All right, so this is our debt. And there's gonna be people in the chat in your life that are like, yeah, but it's compared to gross national. Every country's in debt, and it's not only not stopping, it's exponentially growing. That means there's no way to slow it down, and it'll only get worse and worse and worse. When a very close friend of mine, who's a brilliant financial advisor and like crazy successful, I was like, can we just keep going in debt forever? And he was like, I think so, yeah, right? I'm like, you get that feeling. It's kind of like calling the cops and there's a busy signal when you're like, oh my God, there's no one here to save us. So Satan's giant joke is that right now we're in a society, and let me put up Satan's joke again. So I'm thinking about Satan being funny. So we live in a world that like our fears are, you know, like a comics fan club, or like someone's gonna not like you on Facebook. We're fairly close to a time when we'll see cannibalism in our life, and people will kill each other for nothing, right? So bear in mind that like there's things to be scared of, and the only way out of that is to act this way, which gets you scared in this fake world. Facebook likes are an illusion. It's nothing. No one cares, right? Ask anybody who's experienced the Civil War. The way out, it always starts with people being like, don't say the truth or you're out. There's no way to self-correct. Joe Rogan's 3'1". I'm not going to lie about it. Unfortunately, Satan is hilarious in a very dark way. Growing up, we always had like Faustian deals and all this stuff. They're all joke punchlines from setups where you sell your soul to the devil for a Ferrari, but it never has any gas. You know, you get all the books in the world because you're a reader, and you break your glasses and there's no one else. You know, and Satan's just like, ha ha ha. You know, you become famous. And, you know, it's constant. Like the devil is always giving you what you asked for, but it destroys you. And that's comedy. It's literally juxtaposition, irony. It's everything that creates a joke. So think about this joke. And it's the biggest joke in the world. South Park literally did an episode about it called Funny Bot, where they created a robot that was the best comedian in the world. And he's like, I am Funny Bot. He's like, why do the Mexicans still... And people would just die laughing, and they're like, Funny Bot, you're so good. He's like, the algorithms make me the funniest robot in the world. And the ultimate joke of Funny Bot was to kill the entire world and then just go, awkward. And the boys figure it out, and they're like, Funny Bot, no. And he's like, I have done the calculations. The greatest setup punchline would be entire world genocide and simply say, awkward. And he was right. There's the devil laughing. And it's so true. The devil is a comedian, dude. That's why satanic comedians aren't funny anymore, because the devil, they're the straight man now. And the devil's funny. That's why people are like comedians aren't funny now. I mean, I'm funny because I'm not satanic, but the devil, like the comedians that are owned by the devil, now those guys are all like, that's problematic. Don't say that, because the devil's like, wait for it. Guys, it's such a joke setup. Okay, so anyway, me and Vox are trying to get in touch about the book, and I'm not lying at all, but I know I'm realizing I'm like, yeah, I have a hard time with Skype on my phone, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I'm outside building fences because I was like, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. He's like, yeah, but Skype has to work, dot, dot, dot. And the dot, 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 I was like, oh, I seem like I'm like lying. I almost sound like I'm lying when I'm like, yeah, my phone doesn't work, right? It doesn't. And I have like weird issues with my phone and I don't have a voicemail and my Skype's all fucked up. And yes, there's a chance that someone's actively fucking with me with it. And that's not paranoia. That's real. And then I started laughing. I was like, my fence building is almost like a drug addiction. It's like my fence addiction is now affecting my business relationships because I'm outside. I'm not at a computer. If I was at a computer, I could have Skyped, but I'm out there building fences. When I said I wasn't gonna, it started Gateway. You know, I just wanted a couple iron rods. Before you know it, I'm buying kiddie pools and hay, you know? And that's funny. Why? Because there's such a big difference between those two forces. You have drug addiction and then you have fence building. That's why that's funny. It's called juxtaposition. It's like, it's when two things next to each other, when you have a very serious thing and then something like nothing, right? So that's why when FunnyBot killed the entire world, which couldn't be more horrifying, and then just went, awkward. That's literally the biggest joke ever written. If you're into I like how jokes relieve stress and do uncomfortable truths and make people feel a sense of community. I really do. And those of you that like my comedy can attest to that, you know. But comedy itself can be so evil. And Satan is the biggest comedian in the world because he's always, when you love yourself too much, like self-love is not good, guys. Come on. So I'm thinking about Satan's giant punchline. So you got Joe Rogan's little death quiet. And they haven't threatened me at all, by the way. This is all totally not even a real thing. This is just someone concerned about me. And I'm like, what are people scared of these days? They're scared of social ostracism in a little screen world that isn't real. They're scared to be called racist when everyone knows it isn't racist. Even though they have all the food they could eat, even though it's so easy to meet another person and start a family, everyone's right there. There's no gulags, no prisons. Like most of human history is horrifying with a lot of this stuff. So we're so obsessed with things that don't matter at all. And in not that far distance of a future, hundreds of millions of people will starve to death for sure. Satan created the biggest punchline. So it takes a comedian to beat a comedian, right? So, because that's why Satan now has all these people and Satan's like, don't ruin the joke. Don't ruin the joke. Come on. You know, and when I'm saying like, oh no, all you have to do is, because there's a way out of this, guys. This is a big opportunity. We don't all have to die. We can flourish. Larry used to be cool. You know, like being transgender wasn't even the top 50th most interesting thing about this human being. Brilliant musician, like out there, wacky, just, you know, whatever. Ever since they've been celebrating trans stuff, like Larry's now bad. Like Larry used to have my back when the trans mob came at me. They're like, Owen doesn't hate trans people. I've known him 30 years. Lately, Larry's like, well, the human spirit is multi-gendered and like children should know that. I'm like, oh God, Larry's now bad. And it was because the whole society didn't serve Larry. And that can happen to me as well, by the way, guys. That's why I need honest feedback. I mean, not what happened to Larry, because I'm not obsessed with myself. I'm not focused on myself. I believe in God, Jesus. You know, I have paths to never be like, oh, we can put on children what I am. Like, no, but the principle's still the same. We have the whole world being like, you're brave, you're great. Like, you know, what you are is so special and awesome. And Larry's like, it is, isn't it? Back when Larry was just a weirdo with that stuff, but other than that, really awesome. Fine. Now that the world's doing this to Larry, poor Larry is awful. Never want to talk to that person ever again. It's like, it ended with me being like, stay the fuck away from kids, Larry. And by the way, Larry's never going to like touch a kid or anything like that. It's like, but never tell a kid that gender doesn't exist or we're all genders. Like, don't fuck with kids' heads. Like, you are not right on this thing. You're an anomaly, you know? Like, you're a weirdo. And I'll accept that if we all accept that's weird. So we live in a world where we're forced to be grateful for the things that are poisoning us. You know, like, well, we have the greatest government in the world. No, they're awful. Like, our food is poison. Our money doesn't work. And all it's doing is creating man babies out of us. Well, we have the internet. We can communicate so fast. People use it for just porn. People use it to isolate and shame. This is all so classic Satan. It's called a Faustian deal. It's you get all the sex in the world and then you lose your dick. And Satan goes, ha! This is Satan, right? And yeah, just look at him laughing. And you know Satan's funny, man. It's like, I don't want to admit that because that's my career. But I'm not satanic. But just know that there's an element of irony that's pure Satanism. That's why I'm trying not to be sarcastic. Even though it's still funny sometimes. I'm not doing it in a bad way, but like it's dabbling in the upside down world. So Satan has created a world where idiots are completely upside down and he's dying laughing. People are like, well, aren't you worried that like the comedy community is going to turn on you because you mocked Joe Rogan? Then maybe I'm like, guys, if you don't have a fresh water source, someone like you're dead, man. It's like your own and people are like, oh, Owen Benjamin's insane. He's like, he's ranting about the apocalypse out in the wilderness. It's like, my heart literally goes out to these people. They will die in complete panic. Okay, here's a perfect antidote for this. Sam Harris pities truck drivers, right? He's like, when AI comes, 5 million truck drivers will be out of work, and what will they do in society? Sam, truck drivers could shut down the entire country in 3 days. Truck drivers have infinitely more power than you, Sam. And by the way, AI is not going to take down truck drivers. No chance. This is masturbatory bullshit out of these people's mouths. My boy, like one of my best friends is a truck driver. If all the truck drivers were like, we're not going to drive the trucks. You have no food, no oil, no water, nothing. All society collapses. And you guys are sitting, want to know who else has a lot of power? Plumbers. Okay, imagine like Google, they're sitting there and they're like, we have the algorithms, we must make it so no problematic cisgender. Imagine if someone just turns off the pipes and go, you don't know how to fix this, and now you're drowning in your own shit. Like, the people we think have power have none. And the people that we pity have all of it. Want to know who else has a lot of power? Longshoremen. That's one reason why the commies took them so hard with unions and all that. If the longshoremen want to shut down a port, it's all over for us. Like, and when people mock these people as like, oh, retarded Christians, I'm like, guys, the satanic joke just doesn't stop. Because they're Christian or believe in right and wrong is the only reason you're alive. Imagine if truck drivers acted like Hollywood, egomaniac, podcasting kickboxers. Imagine if they're like, I just want to experiencing things. Imagine if they're like, well, let's just shut down. They'd kill everybody. Imagine if like half the people with guns acted that's why these leftist weirdos are so paranoid about guns. Because if they had guns, they'd just kill everybody. Because it's like, the very thing they're mocking is the only reason these people don't take them all out. You don't think that I've had conversations with some of my friends where I'm like, this is an unfortunate conversation, but do we have to start killing people for these things? And we talk about it. Where it's like, has society collapsed? California has just made rape a ticket. Like there's rapes and assaults and just horrifying crimes are now non-felonies. That just happened. You can go to jail for criticizing people on the internet, but yet you rape a chick and that's, so justice is failing. So this is a conversation that men are having right now. Like, do we have to start enforcing? Like, because it's not moral to just always be like, violence is always wrong. No, there's a time when it gets so corrupt that a rapist is celebrated and a tax evader is put in prison. And the time, and that we have like adult conversations about this where it's like, well, yeah, but you don't want to be there because these people, like Satan wants nothing more than an irony. Imagine someone does something really good, like goes in like a 50-time offender pedophile that just keeps getting out and raping kids. He goes and chops his head off. And the media frames it as like a trans hate crime. And that's the crime that you lose your guns. Like they're dying to turn us into the animals that they want us to be that we're not. So these are things we're weighing where it's like, okay, so do we make an example of something? No. Do we do it like secretly? Like, this is for morality. Like these people don't even know what is coming. The only reason people aren't doing anything because they're full of porn and corn syrup. If you don't have faith, and by the way, you can be free in prison. You can be free in a gulag if you have faith. That's why the things that these people mock is going to kill them. And the devil is going to die laughing. Oh, and they think, these transhumanists, these people, they think they can avoid death. Oh my God. All right. So that's why ignorance is so fascinating. You know, Joe Rogan and these guys are like transhumanists. It's like, well, we could upload our consciousness and blah, blah, and we can, guys, it used to be called the Fountain of Youth. It used to be called the Alchemist Stone. Like, this is nothing new. When the currency gets frauded, everyone dies, and people that worship themselves always think they can trick reality into living forever. And people really have thought it, and they end up drinking a potion that's like mercury and they die. It's not happening. Here's another little tidbit of hilarity. Yuri Bezmenov, by the way, just dive into this guy. It's fascinating. I got to watch my time because I've realized that 4.5 hours is in fact not totally sane. Okay, hour 9, perfect. Yuri was like, when we were recruiting, we wouldn't go for the leftists. They're worthless, whining and needy. They're useful idiots. When the media and movies, we would, people with influence, with great egos, would give them vodka and caviar and publish their books and show them at the Hotel Hilton. And they would do what we want because we boost them and they love their words. And he's talking about how to take down American society, by the way. This is an active KGB guy that came to America. By the way, the fact he's Christian and Russian makes him the funniest person who's ever lived. I'll get to that. But he's like, we would go for more right-wing, churches, militaries, because they had value. They would do questionnaires, and if people were too open-minded, they would be put on a list for execution. They don't, communist leadership doesn't value leftists. It's so fucking funny in the darkest way. Like these people that are serving social justice, as soon as the very thing you're serving gets any power, they will laugh as they gut you. And you're going to be like, but I was one of the good guys. It's like, a good man is a man who supports his family and his nation. You are a bad man. We tricked you, bad man. Right? Think about the sparkly people living in their mansions. And this isn't, not only is this not conjecture and hyperbole, this definitely is coming. That's impossible to hear. I get it. Trust me. There will be a time in LA when you'll hear the sounds of panicked screams. 2 days. You start dying after 2-3 days without water, guys. It's really fast. And water contaminates instantly. There's no Evian and Dasani. It's gone. That's when human beings are a problem. See, the reason a lot of these leftists and city folk hate humans is because they're living in a place where humans aren't valuable. They're actually a giant threat. None of them have any skills. There's 20 million of them based on my friend's generosity of driving a truck and my farmer friend's generosity of growing cheap food and our military's generosity of providing borders. and like killing threats. And they get to just live in these honeycombs and be like, oh my God, I'm above it. It's like, I've been focusing on myself and like who I am. And it's like, why can't we be what we choose? Guys, this is ancient Satanism. And what it ends up being is everyone's a god of nothing and then they burn. Why do you think Apple is so fucked up? The iPhone, iPad, it's a lowercase I. It's the funniest thing ever. It's narcissism with no value. It's a lowercase I. What it did, people used to be more creative before all this shit. I remember when I was in college, we would do, linear editing, and we're always thinking of stuff to make. Now it's just people just watch porn, see who's shaming them. Like when you take that apple, when you bite that apple, and by the way, when people are like, well, you're using Apple. Yeah, it works. Like someone the other day wrote a YouTube comment like, I can't believe you use Patreon. It's like evil. I'm like, you said on Apple with fake money that's going to lead to the end of the world. Like, it's not bad. It's what's bad is when you love evil, when you worship it, when you worship yourself. Like everything's tainted. The whole world's fallen. If I was in a purity and be like, I can't use PayPal to platform my law. Okay, so now I can't get money. Okay, I don't use YouTube. YouTube sabotage information. Okay, so now 220,000 people can't watch me. I can't use MasterCard or Visa. It's like I can't be in America. Okay, so now you just made yourself a mute slave. It's one thing to be like, Apple's so great. No, Apple's fucking retarded. I'll use it like a cheap whore because I'm a comedian. I get what Satan does. I'm just not evil. It's like I will use Apple to mock Apple. I will see what I'm doing is actually an anecdote to the mocking because it kind of takes a comedian to go after a comedian, and Satan is for sure a comedian. That's why is comedy dead, says The Guardian. No, you guys are trying to kill comedy because only comedy can reveal comedy. Actual comedians right now are going right at this shit. The hypocrisies right now are so insane. It's like, I just read an article, the first trans superhero character. Retards, according to the narrative, that's not a trans, that's a woman. Remember? They're already contradicting themselves. According to the trans narrative, there's only two genders. Like, this is all a joke. I'm not a man, I'm a woman. I am just as much woman as a biological. Okay, so now there's just men and women? So what is trans? Well, trans is a community that, no, I thought you were a woman. If there's no difference between you and a woman, then you're not even oppressed. You're not, no, but I'm trans. So what's trans? What's trans woman versus woman? I am a woman, okay, and then they just start going, they're all dead. They're living a joke. It's like, and then you'll see people on here just be like, no. Guys, I'm starting to feel compassion for you because you don't know the punchline. If the people like that weren't so fucking selfish and evil and gross and mean, I would feel really, really bad for you guys. Because value is this. So that guy that wrote me, it's like, I don't have any money, Big Bear. Like, how do I survive? Dude, this is an opportunity to shed so much evil. Because someone I met when I was 24, and this is when I thought Christianity was retarded and a joke. I swear to God. Not in a mean way. I wasn't like mocking it. But in my mind, I'm like, so old and like disproven by science. And I did a college in South Carolina, and there was an evangelical Christian student. It was like my guide, and he liked my comedy. He's one of the guys that got me in. And we're talking about faith, and he goes, hey man, I might be wrong, dude. He goes, but what's the worst that happens? I'm dirt. Fuck it. He's like, worst thing is I live my life good. And that was one of those defining moments in my life because that was a point I never fathomed. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? You happen to treat people well and be healthy and have a family? Worst case scenario, it's all lies, right? Worst case scenario, you just lived better and were a better role model to your kids and wife and your nation. So this is what I'm doing in this time, and I'm very happy, man. Like this, people are scared to talk about the truth and reality of horrifying situations because they think it's going to be depressing and they're going to go overboard and they're going to like not be able to handle anything. It's like, it's literally the opposite. It's Satan doing another trick, guys. That's the only way to get out of that anxiety. The anxiety, the fear, the depression, that's caused by not addressing it because that ensures your death. Yuri Bezmenov was talking about that too. He's like, in America, you don't even know where your shelters are. If nuclear bomb attack, most people die from panic. He's like, in Russia, we know where to go. We go here, we have plans. Like this is military. Every person has to be in military. He's like, you people you don't even know what to do. That's the thing about madness. Cause like, it's odd how sometimes being sane in a crazy world is perceived as insane. And is it insane? Because it's like when you go against the vast norm, that kind of means you are kind of insane. But like, that's only if you agree to death. Guys, it's going to all collapse. It's going to get to the point where it's like, if you are not trans, you are hate. That's coming. Fact. It's going to get to the point where it's like, if you are married and you have children, you are the reason slavery happened. Right now, what I'm saying sounds preposterous and a joke. That will happen before the collapse. The entire world is inverting into an upside down joke that Satan designed. And the only way to beat the joke is to tell the punchline, right? How fucking profound is that? And that isn't because I'm special. It's because I'm tuned into this to the point where just saying reality feels like a drug. It's like people are like, oh my God, you're so fucking awesome. It's like, it's not me, dude. It's like we have a whole world. We have amnesia. We're a species with amnesia, right? There was a time when you knew your neighbors. I'll still hang out with you at the barbecue, but like, we all know that's weird, right? Yes. And that keeps people in check. It's like, I would love to just eat cheesecake for like hours. I know that's bad. It's like, no, it's not bad. That's you. That's who you are, cheesecake. It's like, I don't know that I feel like maybe a little, but after I eat it, I feel like guilty and I get fat and like everyone in my family died of diabetes. It's like, who are they to judge you? You do that. Guys, that's Satan. That's satanic. Like push back on deviant behavior. Yeah, and thinking you're a woman isn't real. And by the way, this is another one of Satan's funniest tricks. The trans movement is destroying women. So like this whole movement of tolerance, all it's doing, dude, the devil is dying laughing. And it's at our expense. We're the buffoons. So now it's like, there could be a future where the first female president is a dude. There's now like the fastest female is a guy. All these women that are really fast, they're not fast now. Imagine a world where now there's no difference between men and women. Now, the fastest, the smartest, the funniest comedian. Oh, women can be funny. Look at Christina Rock over here. And it's just Chris Rock, but he's like, yo, man, I'm a girl, nigga. And I'm just like, I told you women are funny. Meanwhile, like female comedians are like, what the fuck happened? It's like, hey, retards, tolerance just made it so women now can't do anything. Mysterious stranger, guys. Here we go.
Hello.
So when people say be open to everything, just watch this.
An angel.
I'm an angel. He's not lying, right?
What's your name?
Oh, dude, this is a great opportunity to talk about wizardry. Watch this. Okay.
Who are you?
Because Satan's hilarious. So it's like, I'm an angel. He is. He's also the devil. See what I'm saying? That's wizardry. It's like, he could be fact-checked by Snopes, and they're like, yep, turns out angel. It's like, oh, so he's an angel. We like angels. It's like, the fallen angel that's bent on torturing you for eternity. Oh, the faceless man, right? Angel.
What's your name?
Satan.
Oh,
What's the matter?
nothing. Only it's sure a sorry name for an angel.
Please, come in.
Yeah, the media will eat anything. That's why when people are like, yeah, but would they do that to kids? It's like, so many people, the biggest danger is they don't understand evil. The devil thinks it's funny if kids get their lives ruined because of something that isn't true. That's a punchline for the devil. Satan, the agent of deception, a hungry lion searching for the weak of spirit, hates God's creation since he copies and can't create. Love of self opens your portals to him, BB, is speaking through Holy Spirit. God uses who he needs. Dude, thank you. And it's very Cain and Abel. It's like the devil doesn't understand that God doesn't give a fuck about his stuff. You know, it's very Cain and Abel where Cain's like, why does God like Abel? Does they say that I have a Prius? And he sees it as so unfair because he doesn't understand that God's like, yeah, but you're a dick. He's like, but I have so much stuff. And that, like, Satan is an internal hell. Like, Satan is, that's the thing, is these people inflicting on everyone. Satan can't understand. He's like, God, I'm so attractive. That angel is a fucking ugly cunt, and I'm musical and super good looking. God is an idiot. And God's like, no, Satan, you are looking at the wrong priorities in currency. You do this every time. Imagine if someone's like, I have 50 worms and you only have one apple pie. By the way, I'm a robin. I'm a bird. Imagine a bird looking at a human being being like, dude, look at all the worms and you're with an apple pie. What a fucking idiot. And the human's like, bird, I don't like worms. And they're like, okay, so he's now crazy. It's maybe that's why my streams are long right now and they'll settle down. I'm having an enlightenment time in my life. And I'm having as much fun as any of you guys watching. So I'll just straight up like, I can't believe I never saw that before. And that's why I know something's coming through me. Like this is ancient knowledge because like, I couldn't have thought that up. All right. Seriously, thanks for hanging. Hugepianist.com for my self-produced comedy specials. You want to get out of the beat system? Give you the option. What else? PayPal.me/feedthebear if you want to make a donation. This is all crowdfunded. Don't feel pressured at all. The people who get it, get it. The people who want to support and they have the little extra, send some resources to the front line. But if not, focus on yourself. People are not taught how to manage money in public schools. Obviously by design. All right, I'm out. Love you guys. Hit the like button. Don't be gay.